The gravel taunted me. A small, unremarkable gray stone, slightly oval, measured 0.83 inches wide, 0.08 inches over the legal limit. This tiny rebel was now a felon in the eyes of the Meadowview Heights Homeowners Association. And there I was, on my knees in my driveway on a crisp Tuesday morning, measuring it like a crime scene investigator. A can of compressed air wheezed beside me, useless against the absurdity of it all. This was retirement. This was my life now. The trouble began when a smug, cream-colored envelope appeared under my windshield wiper, emblazoned with the HOA's pretentious crest. Inside was a violation notice, citing Bylaw 6, subsection D, paragraph 4, excessive driveway debris. The fine, $150. Excessive debris. The charge sounded made up, like something pulled from a thesaurus by someone with a vendetta, and I knew exactly who that someone was. I'm Nathan Brooks, 50 years old, freshly retired after selling my cybersecurity firm. The payout wasn't yacht money, but it was enough to never touch a spreadsheet again. My wife Sarah urged me to find a hobby, so I bought 12 acres on the edge of Meadowview Heights. It was a plot shunned by others due to an abandoned freight rail spur cutting through it. To me, though, that rusted track was a dream, my own private heritage railway. But solitude was never in the cards. Meadowview Heights had an HOA, and that HOA had a dictator, Marjorie Vance, a woman whose blonde bob was as rigid as her rule. Her silver BMW X5 purred to a stop at the end of my driveway. The window slid down, revealing a face etched with perpetual scorn. "Trouble, Nathan?" she cooed, her voice thick with mock sympathy. I stood up, brushing the dirt off my knees, and held out my calipers. "Just conducting a contraband sweep, Marjorie. This pebble's a hardened criminal. Thinking of turning it over to the feds." Her lips thinned. "The fine triples after 72 hours. You'll need a spotless driveway before I sign off." I leaned on my mailbox. "Got a certified gravel gauge for the inspection? Or are you just winging it? Wouldn't want a rogue spec to tarnish the neighborhood's honor." Her jaw twitched. Our feud was legendary, like the 2023 mailbox saga, when my navy blue box was deemed too nautical, or the peony clash, when my blooms were cited for excessive vivacity. Each battle felt like another move in our suburban chess game. She glanced past me to the back of my property, her eyes narrowing. "What's that?" 200 yards away on a freshly poured concrete slab sat a tarp-covered beast, hulking like a dormant giant. "A project," I replied vaguely. Marjorie shot a look. "It's massive, Nathan. It better not be a trailer. Bylaw 8, section no mobile dwellings." I grinned. "Oh, it's no trailer, Marjorie. It's far less mobile." The next day, the real show began. A convoy of Chevy Silverados roared up my driveway, followed by a flatbed hauling a compact excavator. This was Vince's crew. Vince, a bear of a man with a salt and pepper beard and hands like sledgehammers, ran the top contracting outfit in the county. His dry wit was as sharp as his tools. "Where's the big reveal, Nathan?" he growled, slamming at his truck door. I led him and his 3 burly workers to the slab. They eyed the tarp-covered monstrosity with a mix of awe and suspicion. "You said half a mile of track tying this slab to that old spur," Vince said, chewing an unlit cigar. "What the hell did you buy?" "A hobby," I replied, gripping the tarp. "Help me out." We yanked it off. The machine gleamed. A 1957 Baldwin AS6 diesel locomotive, 130 tons of American grit, restored over 3 years at a cost that could have bought a beach house. Painted in Union Pacific's bold yellow and red, it stood like a battleship. Vince's crew gaped, speechless. Vince's cigar hit the dirt. "Jesus, Nathan," he rasped. "My boy's got a toy version of this. You've got the damn original." Sarah said, "Find a hobby," I said, patting the massive coupler. "I call her the Liberator. Escape from HOA hell." Vince's laugh rumbled like thunder. "Scape's right. This'll drain your wallet dry." The crew's reverence was instant. They got it. This machine was built to conquer. Work started that afternoon. The clang of spikes and the roar of machinery was a symphony to my soul. Within hours, Marjorie arrived, her BMW crunching gravel as she stormed up, clipboard in hand, phone flashing with a noise app. "This is unacceptable," she shouted over the din. Vince shut off the generator and strolled over. "Ma'am, I'm the HOA president," she declared, as though expecting a salute. "Your noise violates community standards." Vince checked his watch. "County ordinances allows work from 7 a.m. to 8 o'clock p.m., Monday through Saturday. We're golden." Her eyes slit. "And that," she pointed to a drop under his truck, "fluid leaks violate environmental bylaws." Vince swiped the spot, holding up a wet finger. "AC condensation, ma'am. It's 95 degrees." Her face flushed crimson. "This project is a blight," she spat. Vince, unfazed, shrugged. "We're on private land with permits. File a complaint with the county." He restarted the generator, drowning out her protests. Marjorie retaliated with a masterclass in petty vengeance. She called the county about my permits. Inspector Carl arrived, reviewed my paperwork, admired the track, and left with a "keep it quiet" warning. Marjorie's obsession fixated on the crossing where my private access road met the track, visible from her second-story window. To her, it was an affront. To me, it was the centerpiece. One morning, Vince and I pored over blueprints, coffee in hand. "She'll lose it when the crossing signals go up," he said, grinning. "That's why I got the deluxe model," I replied. "Extra loud bells, blinding LEDs. Vince's grin widened. "You're a devil, Nathan." Weeks later, the crossing was finished, a marvel of red and white gates and clanging bells. The next Saturday, I climbed into the Liberator's cab, my heart pounding with anticipation. I started the engine. The roar of the 1,800 horsepower engine vibrated through me like a pulse. At 1:57 p.m., I nudged the throttle. The Liberator groaned and began to roll, its wheels clacking rhythmically as I approached the crossing. At 2 p.m., I spotted her BMW, parked dead center on the rails, her tires aligned with malicious precision. She stood on her porch, arms crossed, phone to her ear, smirking. She thought she'd cornered me. Stop or look like a lunatic. She hadn't counted on option C. I halted 100 feet out. The engine rumbled, filling the silence. I blasted the air horn, a deep, earth-shaking bellow that scattered birds and rattled windows. Marjorie didn't budge. I called her. "Move your car in 60 seconds or I will." She answered shrill, "I'm with 911. You're harassing me with that monstrosity." I stayed calm. "Move your car in 30 seconds. Her laughter was venomous. "You wouldn't dare." I pressed on. 15 seconds. "Go to hell," she screamed, hanging up. I stared at her BMW gleaming in its tyranny. Vince, at the property line, gave me a nod, grinning. I had done everything right. Permits, notices, warnings. This wasn't rage, it was physics. I eased the throttle forward. The Liberator roared, closing the gap in slow, relentless motion. At 30 feet, the BMW's alarm wailed, sensing doom. At 10 feet, the coupler towered over the driver's door. Contact, no Hollywood crash, just a sharp ping as the coupler pierced the door, followed by the shattering of glass and the grinding crunch of metal folding like paper. The BMW slid, tires clawing gravel, as the Liberator pushed it 50 feet clear. I stopped. Silence descended, save for Marjorie's distant curses. The sheriff's cruisers arrived 7 minutes later. Marjorie sprinted towards them, pointing at my locomotive. "He tried to murder me." I shut down the engine and met Deputy Harris, a grizzled man with a tired gaze. "Care to explain?" he asked, eyeing the BMW's wreckage. I opened my binder, property deed, railway permits, certified HOA notice, Marjorie's signature, and footage from the locomotive's HD camera. She had trespassed, ignored warnings, and created an unsafe condition. The deputy watched the video, his face shifting to resignation. He spoke to Marjorie. Her defiance crumbled. "It's his land, his notice, his right," he said. "Civil matter, no charges." Marjorie fled humiliated. A week later, her house was for sale. Bill, the new HOA president, nullified the debris bylaw and apologized. Vince's crew built me a quaint station platform with a Meadowview station sign. Weeks later, I hosted a barbecue. Vince was grilling, Bill and neighbors were laughing, and kids rode the cab at 5 their joy infectious. I leaned on the platform's railing, beer in hand, gazing at my railway and clean driveway. Marjorie's tyranny was gone, undone by her own hubris and 130 tons of steel. Sometimes an immovable object meets an unstoppable force. Moral of the story, sometimes the greatest victories come not from anger or retaliation, but from standing your ground, following the law, and allowing the natural consequences of one's actions to unfold. Persistence, patience, and a little creativity can defeat even the most oppressive forces. In this case, Nathan's calm determination and adherence to his rights led to a well-deserved victory, while Marjorie's stubbornness and overreach ultimately backfired.